What's going on, everyone? My name is James, the Abstract Marcher, and hey, I have a new setup. Been playing around with OBS a little bit, playing around with the setup. Got this fancy new border around me, background image, the foreground image that I'm sitting in, all the follow stuff to my left, my stage right, and yeah. So, figured to give this a shot, see how things work out. In the meantime, enough of that. Let us go into what I want to discuss today. With the feedback that I got in my last video in regards to just being done with how everything's going with Magic, I still love this game a lot and I don't want to give it up. I think my big focus right now is just exploring the fun side of it, even if it's good or bad decks. Let's go with a deck that is near and dear to my heart in regards to memories and fun, and that is going to be my Death Shadow deck that I've had for the better part of 9-ish years. It has seen many different iterations, and it has seen many different takes on the deck. Right now, I think this is what I feel is a good-ish setup for the deck in regards to consistency. Obviously, many
unbearable hours later.
Many years ago, we had the ban of Gitaxian Probe, and that kind of slowed the deck down a little bit. But as of the past couple of years or so, there have been new toys, new things to tinker around with, see what can slot in, what can slot out, yada yada. This is my take on the deck. Again, if it's good or bad, don't really know, don't really care. It's one that brings me a lot of memory and joy. So let's dive right into it. Obviously, we have the namesake card, Death Shadow. There's a full playset in there. We also have 2 of Delver of Secrets. I keep playing around whether it's 2 or 3 with the deck, just because. Due to the high density of spells in the deck compared to creatures, this thing's going to trigger a lot, so being able to flip it will be really solid. Monastery Swiftspear is a spicy take for me. I just love how early it can come down and how early it can beat face. There's also a couple of different shenanigans that can be pulled off with the deck in regards to being able to get it out and just do some damage. Scourge of the Skyclaves was a really big addition to the deck for being able to kind of give you a 5 through 8 on the Death Shadows, depending on how you want to run them. Scourge of the Skyclaves has been interesting to say the least, but it definitely helped the deck out a lot. I love Street Wraith in the deck. Being able to just cycle is just great, especially between it not being a dead card whatsoever. So the fact that it cycles and draws you a card and can kill you a little bit faster is good. So that's my creature suite. Next, the sorceries. 2 of Inquisition of Kozilek. I should probably change that to something different. Most people would probably say make it Grief, but I don't have the funds to be able to buy Grief, and also he's kind of a pain in the ass right now in the format, so we'll see if that sticks out or not. I could make it 3 and 4 for Preordains, so we'll see how that works itself out. Preordain has been really solid in regards to performance since it's been unbanned. Not too much else to say left with it. Thoughtseize for hand disruption for your opponent, and also that loss of life can trigger Death Shadow as well as Scourge of the Skyclaves. Back to Scourge real quick. I know it does count both life totals, so that's the biggest thing. I usually fluctuate between 2 to 4 Unearth. Why Unearth? Well, it brings Death Shadows back, it could bring Scourge of the Skyclaves back, it could pretty much bring all of your creatures save for Street Wraith back. And so that's been a really big help with the deck in regards to being able to recur your creatures and bring them back when you possibly need to. Plus, also, with cycling, it helps you draw a card if you need to not be mana flooded or if you need to find an answer. So that's the sorceries. Instance. Good old Lightning Bolt. can pretty much take care of damn near anything. Mutagenic growth to pump up a Death Shadow, a Scourge, or a Swifty, and heck, even a Delver if need be. And also, it being Phyrexian mana really does help. 2 Tainted Strike is a spicy include that I've tinkered around with over the years. I've tried 3, but sometimes they ended up clumping in my hands too often to be able to do anything with. So I find 2 has been pretty solid. Slip Through Space or Distortion Strike could also work in that slot to being able to provide a unblockable threat for you to be able to deal the damage that you need to with. And then good old Thought Scour, a mainstay of the deck. I should have it as a 4 of, but 2's okay. It helped out. As for the lands and mana base, 8 fetches. Just 8 is pretty solid. It could be up to 10, but then you kind of run the risk of running out of fetchable lands. So that's the only caveat that you got to pay attention to. 2 Blood Crypt, 2 Watery Grave. I've tried running 3 and 3 of each with mixed results, mostly due to the fact of there's the pain lands in here between Underground River and Sulphur Springs. Those could just be replaced as Watery Grave 3 and 4 and Blood Crypt 3 and 4, but having the flexibility to be able to get the damage that you need to get a Death Shadow through can help. And then 2 Swamp. That's pretty simple on the mana base. Like I said, your mileage may vary depending on how things go. It's not set in stone. That's just what I've found to work the best. Like I said, those pain lands could easily be Watery Grave 2 through 4. They could also be the new Surveil lands that came out in Murders of Karlov Manor. So we'll see. But that is pretty much the extent of the main deck. I have many memories of going to FNM with this deck and having fun, surprising a lot of people with it. It's very unexpected and a very interesting take on Death Shadow. I know Dimir is the new hotness with it right now. I know Grixis has never left, but we'll see how things work themselves out. As for the sideboard, 2 Abrade, 2 Counterspell, 2 Dismember, 3 Fatal Push, 2 Soul Guide Lantern, and 4 Spell Pierce. This is not a set in stone sideboard, and I probably should be updating it regularly to account for how the meta is going. With Footfalls and Tron, Scam, all sorts of different decks going out right now, they could easily have Grafdigger's Cage be a sideboard card, Tormod's Crypt, or Blood Moon. Well, Blood Moon would screw you over too, so that doesn't help. This sideboard is not set in stone and should be updated. Honestly, it's not too terrible of a sideboard. I think the 4 Spell Pierce might be a little much. So those could easily be like Force and Negations or something different. Now, the considering list. There's more cards that I should put in this list just to be safe. Crash Through is the one that I've played around with the most in regards to having success with it. Being able to give your creatures trample, especially considering how tiny they are, and also being able to draw a card is very handy. Sleight of Hand is pretty solid. You can't really complain about being able to look at the top 2 cards and then determining where you want to put them, especially if you have an uncracked fetch land. Help out with being able to shuffle whatever you don't like at the top. Blood Chief's Thirst is a card that is pretty solid. Have had mixed results with, but it's not too terribly bad. Too undercosted for the meta right now. But if it ever comes up that the meta is reducing its mana costs, we'll see how things work themselves out with that. Blood Chief's Thirst could easily be Brute Force is a spicy one. This is just to really pump your creatures, especially between pumping a Death Shadow, a Delver, Swifty, or a Scourge. You know, being able to get that extra +3/+3 can help. It's not very beneficial without an upside, Thus why Crash Through would be a better pairing to go with it. But, you know, Brute Force is a card that could have some success. And then finally, something else to discuss about the deck would be Noxious Revival. Obviously, I know that's why we have Unearth in the deck, but Noxious Revival really help out in regards to trying to get something in particular that you don't want your opponent either exiling or shuffling back into your deck. Having that guarantee is pretty nice. But anyways, that was my look at my Death Shadow deck. It is a deck that has a lot of memories for me, as well as has provided me a lot of laughs and a lot of really solid matchups in my Magic experience. Please feel free to mention any cards that might be able to help out the deck in any respect that I did not mention between the Surveil lands or any sideboard options, etc., etc. Please leave a like or a dislike. Please leave a comment in any way, shape, or form. Follow me on Instagram, Moxfield, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads. I'm all over at Abstract Marcher, and hopefully you subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me, especially because I'm trying to improve my channel and improve my content, so thus why, again, everything in regards to the new layouts of everything, trying to do new editing techniques and everything of that sort. It's just trying to push me to be better and improve and just push my skills as far as I can go. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. Take care.